for being with us today. I believe that in Germany it's a morning time.
Yes, it is 9:23 here,
Oh,
but
not too
it's
early.
fine for us.
Yeah, not too early. That's good. Okay, all right. So thank you very much. Now we'll go to our first round, and then we will start by starting from our host first, Prof. Zulkifli. So, Prof. Zulkifli, in addressing the needs for TVET institutions in Malaysia in order to provide a competence graduates who are industry ready, it's very important for us to build a so-called as a high-performing TVET system in Malaysia. So, Prof, in regard to this, could you please first enlighten us on who are actually categorized as TVET providers in Malaysia and how we can actually, from this provider, we can help in building a so-called as a high-performing TVET systems. So, without any further ado, I pass the floor to you, Prof. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Associate Professor Shakir, moderator for today's forum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank to the organizer, AKEPT, and also jointly organized UTeM. And thank you for inviting me to participate and sharing some experience to all the participants. So I think we start with the definition first. With the definition of TVET. What are the TVET? Okay, in general, TVET stand for technical and vocational education and training. Okay, the term technical actually refer to subject matter related to the field of study and relating to hardware, maybe hardware, software, including troubleshooting, operation, and also maybe engineering process and so on. But the general definition of TVET, actually we can refer to UNESCO, UNIVOC, and also COPTIPA by MQA. COPTIPA stands for Code of Practice for TVET Program Accreditation by MQA. So actually I can summarize based on these two sources. In general, TVET stands for actually about study of technology and science and acquisition of knowledge, skill, and attitude. So the aim of TVET program actually to produce a competent workforce. So today mainly focus for industry and practice and so on. So about technical education. So technical education may be referred to formal training. Normally start with a certificate, diploma, degree, and even postgraduate. So actually a formal training. The objective is to prepare students with the theory knowledge and also the practical knowledge, and also to gain the practical skill involved in engineering and also technology for the purpose of professional and future career development. So this program should be ending with a profession as engineer, as a technology, or maybe as a technician. So another term about vocational relate to occupation. So profession, occupation, involve employment, often refer to the hands-on practical skill within the professional trade. So the next term is about vocational education. That's why the education also refer to formal process, maybe involved in the level of certificate, diploma, and also maybe postgraduate program. So actually the purpose of vocational education is to prepare students with the practical knowledge, know-how, and skill for specific job, or we call job training, okay, for career preparation. For example, web designer or web developer, okay, they are focused on the specific job, specific task. Another example, welder, plumber, solar power installer, for example, okay, network, technical support specialist, etc. Okay, these are general definition about TVET. Maybe others resource of standard program standard may be different from this, but more like the same about three main component, which is referred to the knowledge, skill, and attitude. Okay, today we have about more than 1,200 public and private TVET provider or TVET institution across 7 ministry. Okay, we have Higher Education Ministry, Human Resource, Rural Development, Agriculture, Work Ministry, and so on. I think the issue is each ministry, they offer their own academic program, maybe toward to vocational program and also technical program. Okay, this is the issue. So I think for tackle the issue, each ministry should have their own strategic plan. A strategic plan covering from planning, development, implementation of TVET program, and also the most important is on the assessment. Okay, so okay, next slide, please. Okay, this if we refer to this Malaysia qualification framework, okay, we can see there are 3 sectors. Okay, the first sector, the blue one, okay, this is a more skill qualification, mainly awarded by the Department of Skill Development or Jabatan Pembangunan Kemahiran from Ministry of Human Resources. So they offer 5 level of skill. The first one, Malaysia Skill Certificate or SKM, level 1, level 2 until level 3. The second one, Malaysia Skill Diploma or DKM. And the third one, Malaysian Advanced Skill Diploma. Okay. So for the second sector, more focus on the technical and vocational in general. So involve vocational colleges, technical school, secondary school. So mainly from Ministry of Education. So in general, upon the completion of primary school or standard 6, so the student can continue their study to join junior vocation education or pendidikan asas vocational. Then after that, they can join after they complete the Form 3. So they can continue 4 years vocational education program at College Vocational for Diploma Vocational Malaysia or DVM. So the third sector is from the higher education sector. Mainly from polytechnic, community colleges, technical university, MTON. MTON stands for Malaysia Technical University Network, and this mainly from Ministry of Higher Education, offering certificate, diploma, degree, and also the postgraduate program. I think the issue is, you can see, we need to establish a new policy guideline in order graduate from the sector 1 from Ministry of Human Resource to easily continue their study to another sector, which is from different ministry. So even they can cross ministry, even from the graduate from skill, from the Department of Skill, they can continue their degrees program under higher education, so under MTON, for example. Okay, so I think the most important thing, we need to make our policy guideline clear for our potential student. Okay, and for your information, a graduate from DVM, Ministry of Education, or graduate from DKM or DLKM from Human Resource Ministry, they can enroll to our Bachelor of Technology program at MTON. Okay, next slide. Okay, we need to also understand what are the TVET system. There are 5 main components. So the purpose of TVET system actually to develop work ready, to produce work ready workforce and future ready graduate for the skill manpower need by industry. Okay, there are 5 main components. The first component more toward to academic program, and also the curriculum. So the curriculum of TVET system should be relevant with industry, and also to cater for the 8 domain in Industrial 4.0. That's why we need to really review our curriculum. Maybe we can offer more specific elective subject to cater for the technical or technology changes. So due to changing in technology, will give significant impact on the technology. Change of technology, produce a new product, improve certain process, and etc. Okay, so the second component, we need to adapt and adopt a new teaching and learning pedagogy. So today, the online learning with your digital facilities and the technology available in the market. So our technical staff and our academic staff should be aware and need to be trained with all the platform, the facilities, and all the tools. So we also can implement work-based learning based on the 2U, 2I model. This is actually 2U stand for 2 years in university and 2 years in industry. We call industry-based academic curriculum. And today we have familiar with the ODL and open distance learning through whatever facilities, computer, network, and etc. Another initiative need to be focused more on micro-credential, virtual learning, multidisciplinary curriculum. Because why multidisciplinary? So normally in the company, they need somebody familiar with all the discipline, for example, electrical plus mechanical plus IT, in order to deliver whatever project, and also definitely to reduce the cost of the operating cost. And another thing is about technical and vocational pedagogy. So today, most of academic program related to TVET academic program, in terms of the content, about 60%, 70% more focused to practical. Okay, more practical. Only 30%, 40% more biased to academic theory and so on. So during the COVID, for example, so all the teaching and learning activity all done through online. So I think the issue is how we going to deliver the practical component through online. This need to be developed. I mean, in terms of innovation and so on, in terms of delivery, how we going to deliver the practical component to the student. Okay, next component is about engaging an authentic learning environment. This is very important. We need to collaborate with industry to establish the collaboration and to establish the industry environment with a strategic industry. It's very selective strategic industry. And another component is about our staff, technical staff. They also need to upgrade their knowledge and competency in terms of skill. And that's why we need to send our academic staff or even technical staff to industry at least 1 year. 1 year to familiar with the process, work process, to familiar with the technology, the new equipment, and the tool. So that's why we need to take another level of initiative to set up teaching factory. This is very important. Teaching factory exactly like a teaching hospital, where students can practice, can apply the theory, can apply the skill to directly closely work with the production, for example, troubleshooting, for example, maintenance. So this is another thing we need to consider. And also we can, another alternative, we can create industry on campus. Industry on campus, we can collaborate with industry. So industry set up their own manufacturing process within our campus. Or maybe we need to establish our campus in the industrial park, for example. So this is another option we can consider. So next is about passionate and competent staff, as I mentioned before. So we need more competent staff in terms of knowledge and skill, attitude through the process of upskilling and rescaling. Because of for example, Industry 4.0, so we need to realign, we need to upgrade our knowledge to fulfill R4.0 requirement because of the rapid changing in technology, changing in the equipment, tool, and also work process. So that's why we need to acquire industry experience, exposed to industry environment, and also exposed to actual job scope through industry attachment. Okay, and also we have another program. We encourage our academic staff and also technical staff to take professional certification, which is recognized by industry and also professional body. And the last component of the TVET system is about a credible and reliable assessment and certification system. It's about governance. It's about process, policy. They need to be clear. Need to be clear. That's why I mentioned just now. The graduate from the sector 1, based on the skill, should be able to easily continue their study in sector 3, for example. So this involves governance, and definitely all the academic program need to be compliant with the professional body and also accreditation regulatory body like MQA, MBOT, and BAM. I think that's all from me. So I think the most important thing, we need to establish a new policy for the implementation, and starting from the curriculum development, design, implementation, assessment, and because of each ministry, they provide or offer more like the same program, So that's why some potential student, they are more, little bit confused which program they need to pursue, need to register, need to enroll, because this there are 7 ministry cross, so that's why the policy guidelines need to be clear. For example, I'll give one example. We need to establish articulation program, meaning that the graduate from the sector 1, so if they need to continue the study at the degree level in sector 3, so we need to give some credit exemption or credit transfer for vertical and also for horizontal. So that's why the diploma graduate from sector 1 or sector 2, they can continue their degree on the second year, okay, in the second year, for example. So I think this need to be standardized and need to be some sort of like curriculum mapping and also the articulation for each program. I think that's all, Associate Professor Dr. Shakir. I hope this answers the first question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Indeed, it actually has enlightened us on the on how we can actually build a so-called as a high-performance TVET ecosystem. And has been mentioned by Prof. Zulkifli just now that we have more than 1,200 TVET institutions, and with across 7 ministries. This requires a lot of streamlining in order to ensure that we are able to really implement this TVET education system effectively. And I believe as well that this is due to this reason as well. I think the ministry or the government has introduced so-called as a National TVET Council, or known as a MTVET, in order to ensure that we can actually streamlining all of these issues, right? So, and of course, in this context of this TVET or building this TVET education or ecosystem, we have seen also from the previous slide that been shown, industries plays a very vital role in ensuring that we are able to actually build the high performance TVET education system. And this is also becomes one of the key areas or key focus areas that have been highlighted in National TVET Council as well, or MTVET. So we can see that the industry is actually a very important private partners to the university in ensuring that finally we can have a proper TVET educations or TVET ecosystem. So in this context, we will ask the only person from industry here Madam Cik Salwani in this context. So how do you see the roles from the industry that could able to help us in actually boosting or accelerates so that we can actually really able to build the so-called as high performance TVET ecosystems. So please, Madam.
Okay, thank you very much to Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Shakir. Selamat petang, good afternoon, Ziawu Hao and Mati yang Vanakam. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much to forum organizer AKEPT, Higher Education Leadership Academy, to invite me, okay, for the such of the beautiful forum combining all expertise in this industry to discuss further on the TVET education landscape development nationally and globally. Okay, so we come back to the questions how the CASM as an industry strategize in the realizing the high performance TVET system in Malaysia. So as we know, CASM, a leading automotive player with significant presence and market share across the South of Asia. So we are focusing on developing future talent in skill through our establishment of Custom Academy in 2021 to working forward on the generating and producing high skilled talent and ready workforce to support industry and handling the gapping in developing the talent and competency. As initiative Custom in developing and build up a high performance for TVET system through establishment of Custom Academy, which is at the first, we as a TVET training provider established by industry, we are more focusing on developing a strong curriculum validated by accreditation body and industry, both to ensure all the elements in developing the competency is covered. Okay. And number two, of course, involving the lecturer and industrial experts for teaching and delivery activity. As we know, Custom Academy was patented to be as a NDTS, National Dual Training System, or we call also as a SLDN, System Latihan Dual National Training Center. And we put the efforts to working closely with our worker, which is have experience and expert to be a coaches and coaching of our training with a technology and training methods. So the student will receive the top-notch training and be able to implement their skill immediately. Inside of this, the practical training resource, as we know, as the SLDM Training Center, we are implement the method of training which the student will be trained certain duration in academy to learn and practice about the theoretical and fundamental study, and they will be placed in industry, custom inspection and experience center to have their studies directly coached by our expertise and adopt in the real industry working environment. Mainstream the National Dual Training System, NDTS, in generally, the concert's efforts will be undertaken to the mainstream NDTS to produce skilled TVET graduates demand by industry. So the NDTS offer workplace-based training wherein 70% of training takes place at the company and 17% at the TVET institution. So the NDTS program will be further expanded to the support specific economic developments, areas, and industry needs. Eliminating the low impact program and reducing overlapping programs, also the part of the initiative working by Custom Academy. With the low impact program that we are not in demand by industry and yield low graduate and probability will be eliminated. The existing centralized system for tracer study for public institution will be upgraded and expanded to the private institution to enable comparisons of graduates and probability. On the top of this, more industry engagement in the form of the 11 Malaysia Plan strategy in terms of transforming technical and vocational education and training to meet industry demand. Thank you. I give back the point to moderator, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Shakir.
Thank you very much. It's not even 10 minutes. Thank you. Thank you for very good explanations on the the customs academy on what are you doing to ensure that we can have these high performance TVET systems. So now we go to our third panelist, Professor Dieter. Right. So of course, every time we are talking about TVET, we always love to talk about Germany experience, because from our point of view, you have done it very successfully. So therefore, I think you are very suitable to be here today to share with us on this success story of the implementations of the dual education system in your country, basically. So please, Prof. Dieter, could you please enlighten or share with us on the dual education system in your country and how it becomes so successful there? Prof.
Thank you, Prof. Shakira, for the invitation. It's very nice that I have the chance to present the German dual education system. The wording TVET actually is nearly not known in Germany, but we have the dual educational system in the workers area already more than 100 years. So therefore, the wording is for us more or less a dual education system. And so the long-term dual education system is more or less in the industrial, but as well during the last 20, 30 years, we implemented more and more as well a dual educational system in academics in the universities. But let me first explain what do we understand for the dual educational system. So first of all, I will talk about the dual educational system in the apprenticeships area, so for industry. And the meaning of dual means here at this point, the dual education is carried out at two different places. The two different places is at the company. So the company is employing a trainee. They pay for him. And the second place is a special school for that education. We have a special school, and the school can be mentioned school providing vocational education, or I will later mention it vocational school. And in German, Berufsschule. Well, and the duration of the apprenticeship is about 3 to 3.5 years. How are the relations? Who is responsible? So first of all, the company has to get the right of the education. So not every company can do the education. The company has to get the right to do this education, and only companies who are member of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce will get the right. And at least one person in this company must get the permission of the education of the chamber to do this dual education. This is a very important thing, because to have a standardized process. The trainee applies at the company, and the company will select the best. And the trainee will get a contract with the company and will work at the company. However, the company will enroll the trainee at the vocational school. The content of this education is fixed by law for each occupational profile. There are more than 300 different profiles. If you want to become a plumber, that is a different thing as if you want to become an industrial worker or something like that. So we have more than 300 different profiles. So the relations, who is responsible? This education is secured by three institutions. First, the company. The company will do the practical training. Then the vocational school. The vocational school will do the technical training, the training in the technical training, and the Chamber of Industry and Commerce will fix everything together. So what are the advantages of this system? The company gets trainees that can work together with other employees and help these other employees. And they are not so costly like the real employees. And the trainees, they learn by doing. So very important thing. After the education, so then the enterprise get really well-trained personnel at their needs. So that means the trainees are educated according to the needs of this special company, and this company will later on, in most cases, employ as well these young persons. And the theoretical knowledge is taught at the vocational school. Therefore, as they have to work together, there is a very, very good connection between the vocational school and the enterprises. They have regularly meetings. And for the trainee, there is an advantage because the trainee is paid by the company, so they can earn already a small amount. So usually about 800 euro a month. That means 3,600 MR per month in the first year, and in the third year, for example, up to 4,900 MR. What is the time schedule? The time schedule is the trainees are working for the company on 3 days a week or 3.5 days a week. And they go to the vocational school for 2 days or 1.5 days. It depends on the year. And very important, after 1.5 years, there is an intermediate exam, practical and theoretical. This is something I will focus on later again. And at the end, there is a final exam as well, practical and theoretical. The exam is carried out by the vocational school together with the companies and the Chamber of Commerce. So they three do together the exam. And then the trainees get a professional certificate, and this is issued by the local chambers and is valid all over Germany. The vocational schools are state schools and they are free of cost. So this is a very important thing. And for each profession, as I said already, there is an official training regulation. This training regulation is published and the companies know it, the schools know it, so they have to train according to this training regulations. Please calibrate by connecting to your mobile phone. The training schools are working together, as I said, with the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And during the practical work, the companies have to ensure that the trainees acquired that practical skills that will be tested during the exam. So the company knows what practical skill the trainee has to learn during that time. And to achieve these skills, there is a board consisting of members of companies and of the training school. So they all work together. However, this exists already in Malaysia. There is the Malaysian German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Malaysian Chamber of Commerce and Industry offers already dual industrial education in Malaysia according, more or less, according this system. This is for the moment everything I wanted to talk about the industrial education, and I think later on we talk about the academic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that kind of information regarding the dual education system that being currently applied in Germany. Yeah, so I think we go straight to the second round, Prof. Basically, because you to Prof Dieter, basically because you have highlighted just now that for dual education system, students require to do attachment at the industry as well. I believe this has also been done by many other institutions back in Malaysia as well. And also I heard from my friends in Germany as well, Prof. So despite of being successful applied dual education system in your country, but it still has some difficulties when you are about to apply it at the university. So could you please describe us on these challenges, Prof, of actually implementing the dual education system at the universities itself?
Well, I mentioned about the dual education systems. So I like to show when the pupil go to school, they can either go to school for 10 years or for 13 years. And then there is a possibility of a practical dual education in industry. This, as I mentioned, the dual education is ensured by the company together with a vocational school. So both, either the pupil who had 10 years or 13 years can attend this dual education. And after 3.5 years, they become craftsmen, craftswomen, and the Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Commerce will give these acknowledgement. To go further to the university, then this is possible only for those who did 13 years of school. So if you did 10 years of school, there are possibilities, but it's quite difficult to explain. So that's compared with the MQF, what you said, column 1, column 2, column 3, to go from one column to the other one. And so then you are doing the complete curriculum of the university. However, as well, you can skip these dual education. So after the 13 years, you go directly to the university. This is possible, but then you have not these amount of practical training. Well, the bachelor level in Germany is usually 3.5 years. So this is the normal time. But if you do first a 3-year dual education plus 3.5-year bachelor training, then you have a training of 6.5 years. And really, this is a long, long time. There are a lot of students who are doing this work, this long education, and this is a real good education for the industry because they are really good in practice and really good in theory. But we have to know this is much too long. So what can we do? We have the opportunity only for those who did 13 years in school. So then we have this system, and now, however, some contents of the dual education and practical parts may be similar to that of the university, and so we can merge these together. So if we merge these together, then we can achieve of a combined academic and industrial dual education of about 1 year more. So we talk about 4.5 years, not more. And so this is the dual academic education as we are talking about that. So they become a bachelor and craftsman, craftswoman together and with a certificate. So this takes 4.5 years more or less. I will show you later the different possibilities. For the companies, this is a very good benefit because they work as a trainee in the companies. So they know very well the needs of the companies. They know the companies very well. And they do more or less the complete study for the bachelor. And the student will get money during the complete study. So the company will pay the student as well when the student is at the university. The similar relations, the education is ensured this time by the company, and this time by the university and by the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And that is a really benefit for the companies. They will get engineers who know the details of the company. And actually, when they are engineers, they do not need a training on the new job. So usually, if you employ a freshman, a new engineer, you have to do a training on the job for minimum 1 year to adapt the engineer to your company. And this is not necessary anymore. So benefit, a win-win-win situation. However, for the dual study in Germany, there are a lot of different types. I just showed you one type, but we can distinguish. The first one is, as I said already, a dual study, so university and company, with a certificate of Chamber of Industry and Commerce. This is actually the highest possibility. However, the company may decide they do a dual study without any certificate of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. I will explain how this works. However, in this case, the students are working just during the semester break at the company, and maybe 1 day during the semester, or half a day or so. So this means the time needed is not longer than the time for the study, and they know the company and they get paid. But they will not get a certificate of Chamber and Industry. This is for example, for the students who fail during their study. So if the students fail during their study and they have the certificate of the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, they still have a work. And if they fail in the university, they are not lost actually. But this is the easiest, the simplest possibility. And the student gets practical skills, has a good bond to the company, and the student is paid during that time. Very simple, very easy to do. However, we will talk about the academic dual education with a certificate. So there are many different types of programs. And for example, the question is the time when does the practical work at the company takes place? Yeah, I heard before that there is as well that the students will stay 1 year in industry and 2 years in the university, for example. So the question is, when is that? And the duration of the complete program. I will later focus this out. And however, if you say, okay, we acknowledge at the university some skills that they got during their practical work in the company, and we can acknowledge this as a part of the academic education, then you can reduce as well the complete time. So these are very different, a lot of different programs, and each company and each university, even each faculty, has to decide what would be the best solution for their needs. Thank you first at this time.
Yeah. So, Prof, just my add question on that one is actually, how about the enrollment of the students? You are facing the problem of enrollment, student that to choose that path, basically.
the enrollment of the student, yeah, the student enrolls at the university,
Yep.
and the students apply. So the students applied at the company, and the company will choose the best. And then the company will say, okay, this student is our student for dual education. And the company will tell us the names, and however, the students will enroll in our university. This is the process of the enrollment. So they have to enroll, they have to first apply at the company. The company will take the best one, and really for us as a university, it's very, very good because the companies are doing the work finding the best students. So for us it's a really, really good advantage. So, and then they send these students to us. So they have to enroll first at the company will enroll them at the vocational school, and then they enroll officially in our university.
Okay. All right, Prof. Very clear. Thank you very much. Now we go to, we're already in our second round basically, yeah, because I just asked the question straight away to Prof. Dieter just now. So to Madam Salwani, basically because we know that industries actually are integral part of the TVET ecosystems that develops competent graduates who are actually benefit to the nation and industry. I think, therefore, it's very important for everyone to understand from industry perspective on the challenges of TVET institutions in producing the right graduate for industries. Because based on the report, auditor's report that been published in September 2021, we are expecting, or we were expecting to have close to 1.6 million TVET graduates in 2020. However, we are just able to produce 53% out of that amount. So I believe that it's very important for us to understand the challenge, not from industry perspective, the challenge that we are facing. I mean, the TVET institutions facing that to actually produce the right graduates for industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Associate. Okay, come back to the question, because this question is very presenting custom academia as a game player in the TVET industry, and then also we are created by industry. Okay, as I mentioned, custom academy actually the kids of, I mean that our mother father is custom syndrome Berhad. Okay, such of the industry. Yeah, so this is I think the challenge will be a very good benchmarking, okay, and also guide for us in developing the directions, achievement of the goals, okay, in perspective of the general factor also. So I would like to highlight about the three main challenge, okay, in the TVET, and the most of challenge actually for the TVET training provider based on the observation, my observation evolving about the 2 years, okay, in the three of country, which is Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia. Yeah, as we know, Custom Academy was established in these three country. So, yeah, as I can see, first challenge actually is most of the developing country is a put less value to the TVET than rather than university or college tertiary education. Okay, so this is how that we can see the parents and also committee, especially as a whole of the they are looked down on the TVET education. Okay, so especially the bright student, the category of excellent students, actually often veer away from this, and TVET become the dumping ground for those who are academic capacity is not up to the requirement of higher learning. Okay, as example, we can see here most of the parents is still channeling, okay, their kids to the academy oriented program, and only think that academy oriented only can channel their kids to the professional growth and professional position. For me, yeah, actually what we can see and actually how that the pattern of the competency framework actually developing the most important role in industry to beat with perception of community. As example, this is not at all people in professional personnel can doing the evaluation and inspection of the car, even though they have the degree in the automotive engineering. Yeah, so this is what that we can, what we call, yeah, see the perception, okay, community towards TVET education itself. This is be as a challenge, a main challenge in developing the TVET in the country. Eh? And then the second one, of course, yeah, this is like that I'm observed also for three of the country about the poverty is still in the deterrent. Okay, many of students actually leave a school after primary or elementary or even secondary because they are expected to work and help with the family subsistence. There is no money to support their education unless, yeah, their parents, their uncle, their auntie find any scholarship or loan for them. Okay, so for this situation, like Malaysia itself, the government contribution is such a very important part. Okay, which is to help a student category from B40, even N40. Okay, for nowadays this both category in Malaysia especially, and we know the trend of the teenager also is more to attract involving in the gig economy trend for their life spending. Okay, so this is that the second main challenge that we as a training provider, as a TVET training provider, and also working together with industry for this. Yeah, this is like the how that we can see on the challenge. Okay, and then like a very what we say how to say is the strong and also disrupt, okay, on that the education of the TVET. And then of course we cannot what we call this is the factor, the strong factor also, because we are in the post of the pandemic COVID-19, okay, and then how that the students, especially from TVET, they are adapts on the e-learning platform actually, okay, to help them to gain on this. So in the transparency of the situation after pandemic, okay, the world, because for the whole world is affected for the pandemic COVID. So the world school student, which roughly around 1.6 billion, okay, or 91.3% have been affected by system closure during the COVID-19, okay. And in order to mitigate the loss in the learning, e-learning has been implemented in the school or higher education institution to ensure the smooth process of the teaching and learning. But there are several challenges also related to the e-learning faced by the student, including the lack of the necessary remote training skill required more time in preparing video or online learning. Insufficient internet connection also be as one a factor due on the expensive data package or usability of learning platform. And then it's like not all of a parent affordable to prepare their kids on this. And then the student also like friendly contents, which is they are restricted open online resources and also online teaching solution availability. And then according to the World Bank data 2020, the TVET students come from disadvantaged household compared to the student in the similar level of general education in many countries. In Malaysia, you can see most of the students who join skill training institution came from the poor home and populate in the remote area with a very poor internet connection. Okay, and many students actually did not participate in the e-learning session due to the lack of gadget, unable to buy data, and unconductive learning environments as they are from the B40 low income community. So these students from the low economic background will suffer more as they study at home and no longer enjoy the facilities such as a computer to work, photocopy machine, internet access, and quite space to study. Okay, and then the student will draw more expenses due to the need to subscribe to better internet package and also buy a laptop. So this is the condition actually be as the challenge, the main challenge to us, okay, in developing the TVET and also enhancing the TVET education in our country. Thank you, Dr. I pass back to you.
Thank you very much. So basically, because you are taking care of 3 countries, so do we are actually facing the same problem? Because other countries also facing the same problems, same challenges?
Yes, because most of the TVET in this, 3 country I mentioned, Thailand, Indonesia, and also Malaysia, the market for the TVET education actually more focusing on this, a lower income family or community.
Okay, all right. So means that this is considered as a regional issue. It might be happens as a global issue then. All right,
Yes,
thank you very much, madams.
Yeah,
So I think we go to Prof. Zulkifli now. Of course, because Prof. Zulkifli is actually our Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academics, and you know that UTeM is actually one of the MTON that responsible to drive TVET basically. And the issues of the TVET is not only on the perception itself, but also we are talking about on the teaching and learning delivery itself. Okay, so in this context, as a leader, for example, in this context, so how actually UTeM transforms the TVET teaching and learnings in order to ensure that we can finally produce industry-ready graduate, which is the right one for the industry. Prof, please.
Okay, thank you, as you said, Professor Muhammad Shakir. Okay, how we're going to transform our academic curriculum or academic program in order to produce a good quality TVET graduate. That's the issue. I think I'm going to share what we have done in UTeM, for example, in terms of academic program and also the curriculum. So as you can see on the screen, this only the example for our Bachelor of Technology program, okay, just to visualize the concept of work-based learning. Okay, so work-based learning is become important for TVET, especially for BTech program. Okay, where the feeder from DV, DLKM, and also DKM. Okay, as you can see on the screen, 3U1I is actually the concept of industry-based academic program. For example, in this case, the total number of credit 120. Okay, so you can see on the row, on the column, 60% or 72 credit out of 120 will be implemented based on the conventional approach, which is in university. See, more focus on the theory and cover on the application, but at the basic knowledge and skill. Okay, about 60% of the curriculum. Meaning that the student will spend about 3 years in university. And also for another 40%, it's about 48 credit out of 120. The teaching, delivery, assessment, and all the practical work will be done based on the WBL approach in the industry. So students going to spend 1 year in the industry. So this can show this. There's 2 options. We call day release. Day release means student might be take few subjects. Okay, maybe 3 credit or 6 credit. And then the student will attend at the industry for all the teaching and learning activity, including the practical work, for example. So another option is a more long-term. A more long-term we call block release, where student will register at least 1 semester or maybe 1 year or maybe 2 years. It depends on the agreement between the university and also industry. Okay, so that's why I think the success story, the implementation of work-based learning is still depending on the commitment from industry. Okay, commitment from industry because of the maybe need to absorb certain man-hour cost, okay, man-hour labor and so on. Maybe some material and some equipment need to be dedicated to all these students. That's why maybe affect the productivity of the industry. Okay? So industry only concerned about profit and loss. That's why I agree if industry commit to give certain incentive for the student, okay, maybe monthly incentive and so on. So I think the challenge is because of the potential industry. Are they ready to accept our student? Another thing, because of the delivery and also the assessment done by industry expert and also professional. In academic, one day evaluate and assess, give certain mark and so on. They also need to understand the basic pedagogy, for example, and pedagogy and the concept of how they're going to give mark to the student. So at the end, based on this mark, university will give certain grade for the student. So I think the knowledge, basic knowledge for the trainer, for industry trainer and also for the supervisor is very important. So in this case, we also have another program. So during the, through the MOU and MOA, we also provide certain minimum training for this industry trainer and also for the supervisor. Okay. Another initiative we have done in UTeM, we can say for sharing, we have another program with ZTE China. This totally industry-based academic program where 60% of the curriculum designed and developed by UTeM, our own academic staff, and also delivered by UTeM staff. Another 40%, the curriculum, the equipment, and delivery done by ZTE expert. They are professional. So this, I think this new concept, how industry participate in the teaching and learning, especially to deliver certain theory and also do certain practical work based on industry grade equipment. So I believe this mode will improve our graduate quality in terms of knowledge, relevant with industry, and the skill again during this teaching and learning activity. Okay. So another strategy, okay, in terms of professional certification program. So UTeM, our policy to encourage or compulsory for all our academic staff to at least have at least one competence certificate, professional certificate. So this will help our student at least have one certificate before they graduated. So currently we have more than 30 professional certificate program based on the collaboration with industry. For example, Cisco, we have Huawei and Google, Alibaba, Katia, and etc. So I think through this professional certificate, definitely will put another value added for our graduate to be appointed in the or to be hired by industry by other company. Okay, next is about the organizational framework used by UTeM. Please, next slide. Okay, this just to demonstrate our governance and our WBL organizational framework used by UTeM. So, Dean of the faculty responsible to provide clear policy, okay, regulation and guideline. It should cover from the planning, development of the curriculum, development of the academic program, implementation issue, and also the most important thing on the assessment. Because the assessment at the industry, I think, totally different compared to the academic assessment in the classroom and also in the lab. Okay, the next layer is head of department. So head of department will be responsible to make sure all the academic program are relevant or fulfill the requirement of industry. For example, RF 4.0, and we call this industry-driven curriculum. Okay, the next layer, WBL coordinator. So this coordinator will do some consultation work and also focus on the implementation in terms of content, process, and outcome for both our lecturer and also for WBL industry supervisor, mentor, or trainer. This is to ensure the quality of teaching and learning activity fulfill the program standard requirement. Okay, next is about the TVET educator competency. Okay, the quality of TVET graduate mainly to develop the attribute of the employability skill required by industry is still depend the quality of our educator, our lecturer. So that's why UTeM we have upskilling and reskilling program to our lecturer. Not only lecturer, we also provide the upskilling and reskilling program for our teaching engineer who conduct all the practical work in the lab. So at least they have at least one professional competence certificate, and definitely UTeM has allocated certain amount in terms of budget to increase the number of staff with a professional competence certificate. And also we are in process to develop our own, not in process, we are going to increase the number of staff with TOT in order to reduce the operational cost and so on. Okay, our next strategy to transform the teaching and learning delivery to produce more quality TVET graduate. Next about the facilities. Okay, facilities and technical vocational pedagogy is very important. This is to create industrial-based learning environment. As I mentioned previously, we need to create our own teaching factory to emulate and simulate the real environment of industry, which provide focus mainly on the production, for example. So that's why our lecturer and our student can actively participate in all the activity, including the maintenance, operational, troubleshooting, and even to operate the real production. Okay, and also we try to have industry grade equipment. So as we know, industry grade equipment is very expensive. Software, the latest software, and also the tool. For example, plastic molding, machine, laser cutting machine. This machine, all machine can be used for production. Production. So that's why if we need to acquire all this equipment, industry equipment is very expensive. That's why we need to collaborate with industry. So meaning that we can share with the industry facility and so on. Okay. And next is about to acquire new technology. So we need to upgrade and always upgrade our knowledge in terms of operation, system, and so on. For example, augmented reality or virtual reality technology for our teaching and learning activity. So by using this all the latest technology, student can easily visualize. So most of our student is actually from practical. They're more on practical. So that's why we need to teach the theory based on practical work. So that's why if we have this technology and then the tool, AR and VR, so this will be a good and benefit for our student to understanding more on theory and practical. And Next is about to strengthen our staff with the cybergogi. And cybergogi is about technology related to IT. Okay, I think it's our challenge to come up with the innovation. How we going to deliver the practical work in the lab, but through online and through whatever IT facility and so on. And also University always committed to provide the most comprehensive online learning facilities and also platform including finance and etc. So the next strategy to establish teaching factory with a collaboration with industry partner. Teaching factory is a concept of collaboration space where practitioner from industry bring experience from factory to our student. So actually the objective toward provide a solution, learn by doing. This is the term, learn by doing. Okay, we deliver theory by doing something, mainly to together with industry, do the project on the design integration, for example, do the modification, installation, and so on. So by doing this, they learn something and relate with the theory. Okay, if we can explain this, I think it's very good. So students can easily understand the technical knowledge presented by the lecturer. If they can practice the process, method, or operation in real time. Okay. Another strategy is about transformation from a traditional university environment to industry on campus. So this actually the idea to create a vast opportunity for cross-disciplinary learning and rework within university and industry. So for your information, recently we managed to sign the MOU and MOA with industry. They agreed to establish their manufacturing process in our campus. So another initiative is about co-ownership model between university and industry. As I mentioned just now, to acquire industry grade equipment is very expensive. That's why we need to co-ownership between university and industry. For example, we need to establish industry-based laboratory and workshop. And today we have a collaboration with Huawei, Samsung, ST Microelectronics, and others, multinational company. They provide, donate certain equipment, industry grade equipment. So that's why we can make use of this equipment to deliver teaching and learning and also the practical work for our students. And the last one is about the transformation from single purpose training facilities to integrated learning space, because we have many faculty engineering. We have 4 engineering faculty, 2 engineering faculty of engineering technology. So all facilities more or less the same. So to make our operation, teaching and learning activity more efficient, so I think we can share the facilities based on our resources and also expertise. I think this consider cross-disciplinary and multidisciplinary job scope capability, because certain different faculty have different niche area and different strength based on the technical capability, equipment, and etc. I think we can make use of this to expose our student in terms of final year project, for example, or integrated development project, IDP for engineering faculty, where the title of the project should be come from industry based on the problem, industry problem. Then they will be, and then the industry expert and professional also can participate to do some consultation work, give talk and so on, and also assessment on behalf of the industry and so on. So I think this initiative is very important just to eliminate the mismatch between the graduate and also the industry requirement. I think that's all. Shake, I think back to you. Hopefully I answered the question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank Thank you very much, Prof. Indeed, you have answered the questions. So we have seen just now that obviously that's why TVET education has become very complex, because it's not only involved the academics space, but also involve the workplace education space. So it really requires strong leadership movements in order to ensure that we can effectively produce a good policies in order to make it happen, and also to effectively execute the policy. I think this is very important to all the institutional leaders, basically. All right. So we have completed our second round. Okay. Now we are ready to take the questions from our audience. Thank you for still being with us. Don't left us yet. Okay, so if you like to ask the question, you just need to turn on your mic, and straight away you may ask the questions. Please introduce yourself, from which organizations, and to who actually you would like to pose your questions. Okay, I open to the audience to ask. Otherwise, I will read from the chat box. Okay, thank you. Any questions? All right. If none from the audience that would love to turn on the mic, I will just read from the chat box here. We have a few questions here to panelists. Okay. Number one questions from Zulkifli Sharif. Okay. Question to Prof. Dieter. So Prof. Dieter, you are the chosen one. So Prof. Dieter, so the question is actually, what are the best performance indicators to see the effectiveness of implementing TVET systems at all levels to help the needs of today's industries? Prof, please.
This is quite a difficult question, more or less. Actually, the first thing maybe is for the universities, the selection process, if you become a professor at the university in the technical area, is that you at least have to have worked for 5 years in industry. So when you did not have worked 5 years in industry, you cannot become a professor in the university. So because the idea is when you want to teach people to become engineer, you have to have worked in industry as an engineer before. This is, I think, one first point to ensure the success of the work. So of the education, of the practical education, because when you know the problems in the industry, then you can teach exactly these problems. And actually, more or less, we have to say we are working more or less as a more or less standalone system. That means the university will discuss with the industry about the possible curriculum, but the decision what curriculum is really done is not made by the industry, is made by the university. This is very important because each company has different ideas, so we have to have the main focus on the as university. We have to have the main focus on the curriculum, and we can do this because we all have the knowledge, because we all have worked in industry before. I'm not sure if that was the correct answer on the question. You wanted to have more dedicated figures, but That's a more or less general question. Actually.
If the one that asked the question, there is no response from him, means that he's happy with the answer then. All right, so I think there is another question from the chat box as well here. Against to you, Prof. Dieter. So against, the question is actually Malaysia is embarking on TVET educations, while I believe Germany has a long establishment on these TVET educations. As such, from your experience, do you think there are two questions, Prof? Number one, the TVET education will create competition to conventional higher educations. That is number one on the competitions to the conventional higher education. And the second one is, do TVET higher education may substitute the conventional higher educations, particularly in engineering studies?
The answer on both questions is no. Sorry, it's very easy because actually every university of applied science, I have to say, have this dual program. So there is no competition between the conventional higher education, because we are doing the conventional higher education, and the dual education is part of the conventional education. So there is no competition actually. There might be a competition if more if the one university says, oh, I have more students than the other one, but actually there is no competition. And as well, the higher TVET, so the dual education in the university, will not substitute the conventional institution. No, it will complete the education. So therefore, you have several possibilities of the education, either the conventional or the dual education. You have to see the dual education takes more time. So so there are not almost a lot of students who want to apply for a dual education. So therefore, there is no substitutions, yeah, because it takes longer, and the companies have to select the students. So there have to be enough very top students to be selected. So therefore, it will never substitute the conventional higher education.
All right. Very nice, Prof. Thank you very much. So we have the next one here. So question to Madam Cik Salwani from Associate Professor IR Dr. Gan Ching Kim. Yeah. A recent survey by the Board of Engineers Malaysia shows that approximately 35% of engineering graduates receive the starting salary of below RM2000s. Is this because of the value, value of the graduates that he or she can provide to the company? So he would like to seek your comments on this from the industry perspective, Madam Cik Salwan. So any comments on this one?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Associate Professor, for the questions. Yeah, actually, this is representing on the industry. Based on the observation, because, yeah, as we know, Custom Academy previously campaign, which is that our training is 100% job placement with industry, okay, which is also currently we having a few of what we call a package train and place, okay. So come back to the questions, the rate, okay, for the fresh, I call as a fresh graduates lah, okay, the rate. Mostly now in the KL, in the Klang Valley area, okay, based on the data that we also what we call observe, okay, for all that our partnership to offer that our graduates and our industry itself, actually for the diploma to the degree, okay, for the diploma, like at the first is 1,800, okay, to 2000. Okay, and then yeah, for the degree level, most of graduates, fresh graduates, we receive 2,000 ringgit to 2,800 ringgit Malaysia. So this is that the observation that we are doing all that our data due on the first graduates and second class of the graduates we receive in the Malaysia mostly. Yeah. Mm.
Do you think that is the good range for our graduates based on your experience, maybe?
Because this is the thing that it's like what how to say prof actually uh this is our situation now lah actually, doctor. Actually, if you ask me in 2000, in 2000 era, okay, in the 2000 era, it's quite not to increase. If you ask me, is not to increase actually due maybe that the impact of the economy also lah. So of course, this is little bit struggling for fresh graduates, okay, Seth, and then someone to compete with a lot of people there, a lot of what we call experienced people to get the position. So this is the situation. Mm.
All right. I think we will reserve the other questions towards the ends. Then now I believe that we are now ready to proceed to our third round. Okay. But we just give 2 minutes, 2 minutes breaks for all of you actually to actually relax yourself first, and then give our panels to drinks water first, to relax themselves. But we can only give 2 minutes because the time very limited to us. So we will start back after 2 minutes. Okay. All right. So at the same time, to those that still not register yourself, please make it. There is a registration link being posted in the chat box, please. We may exercise first.
Exercises are best to do at your desk. So I'm going to run you through a simple routine to do throughout your working day.
Delicious new
I believe everyone now have some fresh. So because we have done the exercise just now. All right, so I think we are ready now to discuss our third topic rounds. Okay, third rounds. So in this round, we just allocate 5 minutes to every of our panelists to discuss basically. Okay, and in this third round, basically we will discuss on the opportunities of TVET despite those mentioned challenges given in our second round just now. Of course, in the end, these opportunities will help all the TVET institutions, especially the leaders, to drive our TVET to become a future-oriented TVET educations that is responsive to sustainable developments and labor market demands. I think this is very important tagline that everyone has to follow through. So we start by asking Madam Cik Salwani first. So in this context, how actually Kasam's academy will strategically positions yourself in providing a so-called as a future-oriented TVET education? Yeah, please, Madam.
Okay, thank you, Associate Professor Shakir. Yeah, okay, so I would like to highlight about what we call the answer for the questions. Yeah, okay, since Custom Academy be as a skill of center in the driving the strategy and also to focusing enhancements of the TVET education through the two main pillars. Okay, so I would like to highlight about the two main pillars. Okay, since as I mentioned, Custom Academy we are established in 2021. Okay, which is we are closely to the second year of the establishment. Okay, currently with 200 of students and 75 of the graduates. So come back to the questions. We actually focusing on the two main pillar, which is first the learning journey. Okay, for all that our students or our training. Okay, and also second is industry collaborations. So I would like to explain further about the learning journey. So the learning journey actually with the very comprehensive learning experience during the 12 month of the program in Custom Academy, okay, which is we are deliver in the concept of the industry driven and also real working environment. So as I mentioned, Custom Academy is one of the accredited center by Jabatan Pembangunan Kemahiran, okay, under the NDTS National Dual Training System, okay, or we call also as SLDN, System Latihan Dual National, okay, which is we are focusing to have students to engage and develop their skill through the comprehension and impactful training, and also they will become mentee for the expert coach through the practical session coaching in environment. Happy to share also here, okay, for your information, during the duration of students in the side of the industrial placement, which is they after they completed about the 3-month theoretical training in Custom Academy, so they will place in all our training center, okay, which is our inspection center in the entire Malaysia and also experience center in the entire of Malaysia also. So this actually both is a very fully focusing on developing their skill hands-on practical, and then the training also we are designing to deliver the KPI, key performance indicator. As we know, Custom Academy, we are offering the program, the first program offering as a private institution in Malaysia, which is a vehicle inspection program. So we are designing the learning journey for students, which is that our students need to complete to inspect 500 cars in the durations of the 9 months. Yeah, so this is how that we are, creating a very comprehensive learning methods, okay, which is a journey for student to us to measure, okay, and also to us to develop their competency. As we know, the skill program, the TVET program is based on the competency-based training, okay? So when we talk about the competency, yeah, this is about that how they are doing by their hand, okay, how they are, getting the experience to do, to feel by themselves, okay? So yeah, come back to this. So all students for vehicle inspection program, then they have the KPI to deliver to us, which is they need to complete 500 cars for the inspection activity during the practical time. So this is how that we see here through the practical session, okay, under the expertise, our expertise, which is our worker, senior inspector, and retail manager, to coach them in that the real working and also a real workflow of working to deliver the task. Okay, so this is how that we are referring to the learning journey of students. Inside of this pillar, okay, actually we are also, it's like an open door to having the collaborations, okay, with a few of the industry. Inside of this initiative and strategy, yeah, Custom Academy, we started to open the collaboration with education industry and the service industry for focusing on development of the idea and moving forward fast with all the expertise from multi-field industry to get clear expectation and procedures, the impactful talent as a main objective and direction of establishment of Custom Academy. So at this moment, we are successful to have the collaboration and working closely with industry. So for me, it's very aligned what are the previously addressed by Professor Dr. Zulkifli, which is inside of the education university in Malaysia also, we are looking, okay, a very like a handshaking together, okay, collaborate to do, okay, like the teaching factory, okay, the program we call as a work-based learning. So this is how that we are also inside of the industry. We want to working together and we want to polish on this in the right stage and also right place. Yeah, so for time being, Custom Academy, we are closely collaborate and working together with industry such as ProLintas, okay, the one of the highway management in Malaysia, okay, with a safeguard, with a watchdog, safe work, and also the SOCA, okay. So this is that actually we are working on the training collaboration together inside, and also we are offering our students to having the job placement with all the partners that I mentioned previous. Yeah, and then inside of the university collaboration, yeah, we actually working with a UNIMED for the developing the teaching factory with a UNIMED now, and also we having the what we call the MOU with a Sunway University, okay, which is inside of that the developing the competency and skill talent. We are also emphasis to focus on developing the student with the interpersonal skill, okay, which is, yeah, this is a very important also, which is a student inside of only know, okay, and also understanding about what are their study in that their field, but it's very important also the student we have a good package with all the things covered under interpersonal skill. And inside of this, we as a training provider, we are working also closely with a Vigo Academy, which is a Vigo Academy, the first of the institution in Malaysia offering the automotive detailing program. Okay, so we are side of that, not only give one or two skill for our student, but we are trying to give a multi-skill for student to have and also to see, okay, how that this will be impact in the TVET, and also inside of the give impact in the special skill in the industry. So this is how that the custom academy make it players, okay, based and focusing on these two main pillar to developing and to strategize that all the movement in the TVET. So yeah, pass back to the Associate Professor Zulkifli, and thank you very much.
Thank you for the answer. So now we go to next on the Prof. Dieter. So what is actually, because you mentioned just now in implementing the dual education system is pretty hard to know exactly the best practical time for the student itself, right? So now what is the possible opportunities actually to implement this dual education system so that it can be successfully implemented at the university?
So thank you for the question. I provided a slide. However, it looks a little bit complicated. Don't worry. You will get the slide as well in the documentation. From this PET, so I checked in Germany what are the different systems of dual education together with the university, and I found several different models. And even, for example, model A is in our university, the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, and the model B is in Faculty of Electrical Engineering. And out of the pattern, you might see they are really different. And there are reasons for this, why we did it like this. So so these are the different universities, and here you see the time schedule with the semester and the semester break all in between. And you might see the mechanical engineering have a special system. Theirs is more costly, and that means the students in the first 4 semesters have a 6-day week, so they stay 3 days in the university and 3 days in the company. So during these 3 days, they have 20 hours teaching in the week, and they are 3 days in the company. So they have to work on the Saturday as well. And so this is very, very tough for the students. And the idea is as well that they learn in the company something that we can accreditate or acknowledge in our academic system. And so therefore the number of teaching hours is reduced, so that the total number of teaching hours can be reduced compared with a standard study. However, you have to, in the company, you have to have own classes for the dual students. In the university, you have to have own lectures for the dual students, because you say the students are selected. The students are selected by industry. So you can do mathematics for the usual student. You need 6 hours a week for mathematics. For these dual students, because they are the very smart one, you can reduce it to 4 hours mathematics as an example. So therefore, you can reduce the number of teaching hours with the same content because you have the best students. But you have to do own lectures for the students, and for each different curriculum, you have to have own lectures. This is really costly. And that was the idea in our model, for example, here. P means practical work in the company. That means in our system, we have different curriculum, for example, power engineering or automation. So 2 different curricula. So we had to have for only a few students to do own lectures. So we said, no, we don't want to do this. This is so costly. And so now we have a system that we can combine each practical education with each curriculum in the university. And so we decided, that's a little bit too much maybe, but we decided that the students will join the company and stay 1.5 years at the company. They stay 1.5 years at the company, and for the company that's an advantage because the company has the dual students and ordinary apprentices. They will not study further, and so they can combine them and need only one education for both number of students. And so after the 1.5 years, maybe you remember, there is the intermediate exam. So then they start with the lectures. So in the 4th semester, they start in our 1st semester, and they join the standard lectures. They don't have special lectures. So they go to the standard lectures, and however, during the semester break, they are still at the companies. So therefore, they have the complete study, that's about 2016 teaching hours for the complete studies, and have 99 weeks at the company. So they are much more in the companies than the other one. The disadvantage is it takes longer. It takes 4.5 years. That was the idea. However, what I said before, it takes 4.5 years, 1 year more. In this model, they have, in the model A, they have the complete study plus the certificate of the Chamber of Commerce in just 7 semesters. So this is a totally different approach. And when you compare with other universities, you might see there are different approaches. So this university starts with the lectures, and then there is a semester break. They are in the company, then the 2nd semester, and then they stay 1 semester plus the semester breaks in the industry, and then again the next lecture, and so on. But this means for the company they need special groups for studying. And then you might see there are as well different models, either starting 1 year at the company or with intermediate stays at the company. It's too difficult and takes too long time if I would explain everything, but just the two, even in our university, we have the 2 different things. And that was, for example, our system was due to the need of the industry. For example, we had students from the south of Germany, from the north of Germany, and they could not stay 3 days in the company and 3 days at the university during the week. They had to travel thousands of kilometers every week. And so we decided to have the big block at the beginning. And the advantage is we can combine everything together. And this is more costly for the university.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Of course, it's very challenging because it depends on many parameters in order to ensure that we can implement it well. It depends on the university, depends on the workplace, means industry. So you need to have a good handshake between of the two in order to implement it. But I believe that the opportunity is still there in order to successfully implement the dual education system there. So I will ask actually to Prof. Zulkifli, because I think what being mentioned by Prof. Dieter just now is actually similar to work-based learning that you mentioned just now as well. So how do you see this work-based learning can actually provide good attributes to our UTeM students, especially so that we can actually produce right graduates to the industry? Prof, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay. What actually the right graduate attribute required by industry? I think Shakir, audio is okay or something like interference?
It is a bit interference there. So sometimes I can hear you, sometimes not.
Okay, so I start something like interference. I think something wrong.
Okay, I can see you open from two devices.
Yeah, I try to. Just now the log out and then I try to log in again.
So it's okay. Just proceed, Prof. I still can hear you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay, I think the challenges is one of the challenges due to the rapid changes of technology cycle in industry. So technology change within a month. So last time within a years. That's why, for example, if new technology change, produce new product, improve process, okay, from low technology manufacturing process to high manufacturing process, for example. So today, for example, as a welder, okay, today they use a conventional machine to do some welding, and based on the normal material. But today, for the next futures, even today, industry already use a robot to do welding and different material. For example, to do the welding for composite, for example, or for other material, nano material, for example, which is more applicable, reliable to aircraft industry, for example. So that's why we need to quickly equip our students with a new knowledge, higher knowledge, and also the practical skill, how to program robot in order to welding certain material, for example, and so on. So I think this is very important. That's why we need to prepare our graduate to gain technical skill capability, self-learn. Self-learn means they need to explore certain data sheet, manual, you know, to explore to gain certain high-level technical skills, and also self-motivation skills and high thinking order capability. I think this is very important. So our next challenge is about the change of scope of work. So multitask requirement involve cross-disciplinary job. So our graduates should have a management skill, okay, such as problem solving and decision making, familiar with project management tool, have strategic planning mindset, and ability to work independently and work in a team. So I think this is very important in order to manage a new task, new scope, and new requirement from industry and from customer. Another important attribute is related on effective communication and negotiation skill. Okay, ability to establish collaboration. So based on this skill, they should be able to establish collaboration and networking with customer, and also even to communicate with management team. Problem solving and innovative, another important attribute, including commercial awareness due to the external factor, such as different customer profile, okay, financial constraint, limited resources, and others productivity issue. Okay, definitely the benefit of work-based learning to develop TVET graduate attribute, student able to practice skill in real world environment, in actual factory environment, and gain relevant skill, especially related to multidisciplinary work. For example, purchasing, material, equipment, for example, project management, integration of the system, troubleshooting, operation, installation, maintenance, and even fabrication. So another benefit based on WBL to develop graduate attribute, they are able to applying competency-based training approach that is met with the industry need. So another benefit, a student definitely receive feedback from supervisor, from industry professional, trainer, and also even customer, because students are given a specific task, progress, and so whatever progress in project management need to be reported and presented to the supervisor and also trainer. And students are working in a team, meeting and discussion toward achieve the objective and project in order to fulfill the customer requirement and satisfaction. I think work-based learning is one of the vehicle or tool, important tool to deliver all the attitude to ensure our graduate equipped with the employability skills. And also another benefit, experiencing aspect of industry that are best taught in real-time application. A student exposed to multiple situations, dealing with different customer profile and the delivery issue, and also even project schedule involved in time management. So that may be not achievable in the classroom environment. So I think indirectly it will improve academic achievement of our students. Another important in terms of networking and connecting with potential employer, customer, and also all the stakeholders. As a result, this will bring a strong network, can play direct role to finding a job and get a new business. So what are our strategy? So definitely based on our UTeM strategic plan to strengthen our TVET implementation in terms of academic program, curriculum development, teaching and learning delivery, student mobility, industrial collaboration, and professional certification. So for your information, all our academic program are accredited by professional body and also accredited regulatory body. For example, NPA, UTeM, BM, and also MBOT. So we are also implementing 3U1I industry-based program. So today we have about 20 and expected to get more by 2025. All our programs are designed and developed together with professional experts, especially from industry, the community, and all the relevant stakeholders. This is to eliminate issue of mismatch between supply and industry demand. I think that's all I can share. The importance of TVET graduate attribute and our strategy to deliver, make sure our graduate equipped with this required attribute. I think, thank you. Back to moderator.
Thank you very much, Prof. Indeed, I believe that UTeM has done a lot of works in order to ensure that we can strive TVET, to be successfully implemented. So I think we have completed our third round, which is our final round. Okay, I supposed to take questions, but I will just accept one question and I will read it through from our chat box straight away. Okay, because we already have that questions. Because time very limit us now. So the question is to Prof. Dieter, okay, again. In Malaysia, TVET tends to be perceived as less prestigious and limits the career path. Is this the same case in Germany as well? And how do we remove these perceptions? Please, Prof.
Well, the answer is again no. Sorry, but well, you have to distinguish first of all when you are in the industrial area, so the workers, the plumber and so on, they just have to have such a dual education. There is no other education. There is only these dual education. So therefore, that is really prestigious. If you have not such a dual education as a worker, so you have nothing. Yeah, that's really nothing. Then you are just working something, but you are not a skilled, not seen as a skilled worker. So you have to have this dual education as a worker. And for the academic part, actually, that is not so common to have the dual education. But if you have a bachelor plus master plus a certificate of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, then you have a really, really good prestigious exam, because you have more or less master plus dual education in practical terms. So the industry or the company knows you are very good in theory and you are very good in practical things. And so therefore, they are highly appreciated to get employers who are bachelor or master together with a with a certificate of the Chamber of Commerce. This is actually more or less the highest possibility to be employed. So therefore, this is not a limitation of career. It's a pushment. It's pushing the career to have these to have a bachelor plus a certificate of the Chamber.
All right, thank you, Prof. It's wonderful answer. So I hope that the audience already get a good knowledge on that one. Okay, we already comes to the end of the sessions. Okay, so we just let the panelists to provide us, 30 seconds. 30 seconds, please just summarize regarding our today's topics, so that it can be a good takeaways to all of the audience. We start from Prof. Dieter, followed by Madam Cik Salwani, and then we end with Prof. Zulkifli as a host for today. All right, so thank you. So we start from Prof. Dieter. Prof.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to summarize. So the introduction of the dual education system in Malaysia is a really good chance for the future. I just wanted to show what we are doing in Germany, but Malaysia has to find his own way. I just can show what we are doing. And so the industrial dual system might be implemented with the companies. And as I said already, it exists already with the Malaysian-German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and maybe you contact them. That would be a possibility. And we have the two possibilities in the academic part, the dual study with a certificate of the Chamber or without a certificate of the Chamber. And the decision how much practical phases has to be integrated in the study, this is a decision that the companies together with the universities have to decide depending on their needs. And you have seen there are a lot of different possibilities. And that it's necessary to have a good coordination between the company and the University of Chamber of Commerce. And this is the most important thing. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Prof. Madam Cik Salwani, please.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Prof. So on the side of the custom academy, okay, I would like to summarize lah. Okay, so this is a technical vocational education training. Actually, the one of the critical drive in the transformation of Malaysia. Okay, it's a part of the education. So education system is contribute to economic growth also. So it works to develop and equip individual with a current technical skill based on the industrial demand. So even we are facing a lot of challenge, issue. So for us, it's like it's like that the very encourage us still strength, to enhance the TVET education, and then we are really hope the TVET will becomes enhancing in the collaborate to produce the high skill talent for the nationally and globally. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam. So the final one, Prof. Zulkifli, please wrap up the session, please.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Shakir, giving me opportunity to summarize this forum. So in general, work-based learning in TVET education will be a great tool or vehicle or approach for improving our graduate employment in Malaysia. And also the next is about the connectivity between learning in university and learning in industry. For real life learning will be improved academic achievement of our student. That's why all the TVET provider need to be put effort and initiative to drive all the new strategy in order to produce the best graduate for industry. Okay, this is about ecosystem. And next, the curriculum, definitely curriculum of the academic program by all the TVET provider, specifically for work-based learning, for TVET education should be designed and developed according to the requirement of industry and all other relevant stakeholders, including to fulfill all the guideline, and also policy based on MQA and also our Ministry of Higher Education. And next is about adopting the work-based learning in TVET education to ensure that our graduate have required skill. So there's no mismatch between the supply and demand for the industry. And the last one, not least, is about policy, our system, regulation and guideline need to be established and also fully implemented. This is very important. I think the issue is during the implementation phase. Okay, we can plan, we can have very good document policy, but I think the most important thing how we translate from the policy and regulation into action to ensure our potential candidate can further study at higher level, even for postgraduate and so on, at the required industry skill for employment and so on. I think that's all, Shakir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Prof, for that summary. So, ladies and gentlemen, so with that summary, we have come to the end of these sessions. I would like to thanks to all of the panelists. So, thank you, Prof. Dieter, Madam Cik Sarwani, and Prof. Zulkifli for being with us. And of course, to all of the audience that still able to be with us up till now. Yeah. And for these wonderful sessions, I hope today's event will be able to provide some insights to all of us to continue to strive in ensuring we can successfully implementing TVET and producing the right graduates for the industry. So inshallah, UTeM will continue to organize this kind of events to support the developments of TVET education in Malaysia. And we do hope we can get a full support from the audience here to continue support of our events. Okay? Thank you, everyone. And now I pass back to our MC. Over to you, Dr. Mulyati. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you so much, our moderator. Thank you, distinguished speakers, for bringing your expertise and experience around the screen and engaging all of us in such fruitful, constructive, and open exchanges throughout the session. I believe that all of us have gained so much information and insights related to the topic today. Again, thank you so much for your time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the final agenda of today, the closing remarks. Thus, I would like to call upon Mr. Azrul Isham Hamza, Deputy Director, Center for Leadership Sustainability, AKEPT, for the closing remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Prof. Mulyati. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. I promise because it's already exceed 5:30 in the evening, and everybody is like eagerly to leave the chat room. Okay, first and foremost, I know if I say please give us a hand, you cannot see the hand, but please send us the love on Webex, on FB Live, to our distinguished speakers and panels, Professor Zulkifli Ibrahim, Madam Salwani, Professor Daita, and not to forget our very able moderator, Professor Shakir. So help me send us the love on the screen, okay? And from the bottom of my heart, I would like to express my gratitude to our partners who have helped us to make this webinar a reality. UTeM, Universiti Teknikal Malaysia Melaka. Thank you for taking up. This is our first time collaborating with AKEPT, and through the sustainability, and it's proven that TVET has been a very interesting topic that people has been waiting for. And my appreciation goes along to all the three panels, okay? And also the moderator itself for delivering the topic of leadership expert dialogue, leadership in TVET challenges and opportunities. Our heartfelt thanks also go to all the participants involved. You guys have been awesome. You guys have been very supportive with all the questions asked and all the love given. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we are aware, TVET has been seen as the least preferred option on pursuing tertiary education. This is kind of like a stigma for the people who are pursuing TVET. Is meant for those non-performer in high school or secondary school. However, as you can see, the higher education, as you can see that TVET has come into a picture and has been highlighted in the Malaysia plans and also the education blueprint of higher education as one of the milestone that need to be highlighted. The need for more individuals within technical vocational qualification is the key of unlocking Malaysia's workforce. And we can see in the 12th Malaysian Plan or RMK 12 indicate that Malaysia is targeting to achieve a 35% of skilled workforce by the end of 2030. And so that's not too long. And when you're talking about skilled workforce, these are the people who are not just engineers. These are the, as what mentioned as Prof. Zulkifli just now, these are the supervisors, these are the welders, these are the people who are doing the actual job on the ground. All right. Even as Malaysia plays catch up with leading providers of TVET and nation with robust technical industry, there are great changes moving about the industry due to growing digitization and innovation technologies brought upon the so-called fourth industrial revolution. So as correctly pointed out by Prof. Zul just now, we have 7 ministries that overseeing TVET and 3 ministries, which is Ministry of Education, Higher Education, and Human Resources, lead the governance of TVET, the development of curriculum, and also to ensure the curriculum is moving towards the excellence. And it reflects also 1,200 TVET institutions all around the country, more than the public university that we have. So it also reflects that we need to build that competent workforce for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't take long, and let us focus on the 3 key areas that I pick up along the webinar. Point number 1, as what pointed out correctly by all 3 panels, is the importance of engaging the industries as strategic partners in order for us to understand the needs of the industry, be it developing curriculum that meets the industry requirement, or also preparing the future workforce. And I believe we are also aware that the Department of Skills Development or JPK, Jabatan Pembangunan Kemahiran, have what they call industry lead bodies, or 22 total industry lead bodies together that have are representing the industries in various areas and also industry. So it shows we are already there. We are already there, moving towards that. We can't compare ourselves with the Germans where they have this more than 100 years ago. But I believe we will be there sooner or later. And by saying that, the point number 2 that I pick up is the importance of governance of TVET education. So 7 ministries, three ministries are overseeing the curriculum. So I guess it's time for everyone to sit down, and the initiative of having TVET is timely. Okay, and this is where we would coordinate all the multiple platform, multiple system, the three pathway of TVET, as what mentioned of Prof. Zul just now, and we would replicate it, and probably it can be similar to what German have implemented. And last but not least, on the point number 3 that I've taken up is the evolution of the job market creates a labor market disruptions. This is mentioned by Madam Salwani just now, being said that people tend to move from the traditional workforce by working with other people towards working on their own. Gig economy is the in thing now that drive graduates to work on their own. Probably TVET institution should revisit the introduction of soft skill as part of the syllabus, entrepreneurship, business management, or even interpersonal skills. Ladies and gentlemen, as the co-host of this webinar, we hope that this knowledge sharing session by the experts on their insights and strategies as leaders has become one of the best sharing platform with respect to TVET, as driving TVET towards a greater role. Last but not least, I would like again to convey the special thanks to all panelists, moderator, participant, the hardworking organizer, UTeM and AKEPT for all the hard work rendered. With that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Azrul, for the closing remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Therefore, let us end this academic gathering with a few pictures. Please turn on your camera and put your best smile. Wow, look at Prof. That's the best smile I haven't seen, Prof. Okay, thank you so much. Prof. Effendi are here also. All right, Isham, are you ready?
Right, ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, cheers. Okay, wait, ready? 1, 2, 3, cheers. Okay, next slide. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, cheers. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Isham. Thank you so much, everyone. So again, as a gentle reminder to all of us, do fill up the feedback form. You may find the link in the chat box. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are already end of the session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. And have a safe journey and take care. Bye.
Dieter may meet Prof. Effendi in German.
Thank you, Prof. Dieter. Thank you, AKEPT. Thank you for
Thank you,
helping
AKEPT.
us.
Thank you,
Thank you very
everyone. Thanks,
much
Prof. Rabia.
for
Thank
the
you, Prof.
invitation.
Dieter. Thank you, Prof. Zul. Then Cik Salwani has left us. She has urgent things to do.
Thank you, Prof. TNC. Even Prof.
Right.
TNC also left us.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Prof. Dieter, Prof. Effendi is now in Germany.
Ah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Later, we can see tomorrow, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrow evening, yeah.
Yeah,
German
all
time.
right. Thank you,
He wants to
Project.
prepare you nasi lemak.
Okay, bye.
All right, okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Azrul. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
See you. Have a safe journey, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Bye.
Waalaikumsalam.
See you, everyone.